My name is Theodore Paul. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut, February 14th, 1933. I went to Burnside School. I went to high school in Litchfield, Connecticut. I was on the farm, taking care of animals, so I went there. And I graduated out of there in very early 50 and went in the Marine Corps in 1950 in February. It's a tough story. I came from a broken home. My mother and father, they split up. I had several uncles in the Second World War, and hearing all the stories and so on and so on. My brother was in early, or just after the war, and I just made up my own mind. I was going to join the Marine Corps, and that was all there was to it.
So, what was your specialty, and where did you get the basic military training?
I went to Paris Island, was my basic. I went into amphibious tractors, which that's why I put on there Amtrak. Amphibious tractors at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was also a weapons. I took up weapons and for fixing and repairing, and I did that and I still do it even today. Yeah, even today, I take care of our weapons that we use for the honor guard. I still do it. The same weapons that I worked on then.
So how long was your basic training?
I had 16 weeks. So I had 4 months, which they don't do now. I had 4 months, basic training.
And then when did you leave for Korea? Where?
I left, oh boy, it was like June. Oh boy, I can't remember the exact date, but it was June when they went across the 38th. We were out in the field playing baseball at Camp Lejeune. We were playing baseball. And
where?
In Camp Lejeune.
Where is?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, and the truck driver that came by and dropped us off came back to get us, and he says, drove right over the baseball field into the middle of the baseball field where we were playing, and blowing his horn and come on, we're everybody on the truck, we're going to war.
Wow.
And come on, get that thing off the field where we want to play. No, everybody get in the truck. We're going to war. And I said, there ain't any war. He says, well, there is now. He says, the North Koreans just attacked South Korea.
You knew about Korea?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. And
high school?
I learned that when I was in grammar school.
Really?
I knew about Korea. I knew about Japan.
I had an interview a lot of Korean War veterans, and there are not many people, only a few, because they were in the teaching, but not most of them didn't know anything about Korea.
Well, that was one of our.
Exceptional.
That was one of the things. We had a naval intelligence officer
Okay.
who was our teacher,
I see.
and he explained everything. He had a great way of teaching the class. You would stand in front of the map, and he would say, find such and such, Korea, Japan, Italy, France. He would have you look. You had to know, but I knew that by heart after a while. I just knew it. And as I got going, they came down and they took us over to the M boat, and we went across the bay over to the tractor park. That's what we called it, a tractor park. And we picked up everything and put it on the ship, put it on in the tractors, and then put the tractors on the train, on the flatbeds, and then in about July 5th or 6th, we left there and headed for the West Coast to California. And
From there, what did you take a ship or
for a ship? Yeah, no, we took a ship, the General MC Meigs, and we went to Japan. We had an incident on the way over. We lost a screw off of the ship, the prop that drives the ship. One of them went and sunk, of course. And when on the rest of the way over, we were going like this all the way over, because we only had one screw, one prop, and we got to Kobe, Japan, right in time for the typhoon, right in time for the typhoon, and it put the ship up and down, and of course it broke it loose, and the ship went out like this away from the dock. Well, it went out like quite far, maybe 5 or 8 feet, and we were going down the rope ladder because they told us to get off the ship and go in the building, and the boat come back and up against the dock, and there was 2 guys down there. And then the next wave was immediate, and the boat went like this, and these 2 guys popped right up out of the water and landed on the dock. And we're all clapping and yay, yay, yay. And the funniest, it was very serious, but it was very funny at the time.
But you knew that you are headed to Korea, where
we already, yes.
What was your feeling and reaction?
The funny part of it is that we were told not to say anything, but I think everybody that we engaged in Japan, we talked to, they would come and they'd say, oh, you go to Korea, you go to Incheon, we're told not to say anything, and everybody knew it. Everybody knew that we were going to go to Incheon. And well, you're not supposed to know that. Oh, everybody knows. Everybody knows. So,
were you afraid of going to the battlefield front line or in very early phase of the Korean War?
I was only 18 years old. And yeah, I suppose, but we had such good officers, and they just told us, whatever you do, just do what you have to do, and whatever happens, that happens. So I guess I just never gave it another, I never gave it too much thought. It probably was in the back of my mind, you could get hurt any time. And
You participated in the Incheon landing?
yes.
Wow. So tell me about what kind of information and training you received in Japan, if you had any, and when did you go, and tell me about those from Japan to Incheon and then actual landing.
From going to Japan, they took us and put us all on, they took all our stuff out, put it in the warehouse, and we had to make great big names on the bag so that we know we'd get it back. Eventually we did. But they run us through the little camp in Kobe. And then they started bringing in our equipment, showed up, and we had to load the LSTs.
You left Japan
On
around
August 3rd or 4th, I guess it was.
Yeah. And then?
They went out and around very slowly
Uh-huh.
and up the west coast of Korea.
Uh-huh.
And on the 14th, I guess they were still out far enough that nobody could see them. So I guess on the 15th, that was early in the morning, on the 15th, we just all went to our vehicles, and when they said go, we went. I went to Blue Beach, which was south of Incheon, and we unloaded everything that we had already on the tractor that we had put on there previously before we put anybody in there. And that was uneventful, actually. There was no... The people were, the Korean people were there. They
What do you mean Korean people? Korean soldiers?
No, yeah, well, the soldiers there, because after we got there, we went right up through, up and over this kind of a little hill, and back down on the main road that was headed east towards Seoul. What was it? The town before you get to Seoul.
Yeongdeunpo? Yeongdeunpo or Suwon?
Suwon. Well, Suwon was south of.
Yeah.
Suwon was almost directly in front of us.
Yeah.
Some of the guys went to Suwon, and the rest of us went. Some went to Ashkan City, and the rest of us went right straight up that highway, on the highway, heading towards Seoul.
Was there North Korean resistance when you land?
They had already taken out Wami-do Island. There was actually nothing left on Wami-do. I kind of laugh about that because they say, oh, this happened and that happened, and I'm trying to figure out when all this happened. That happened before we even got there. There was people. I understood that there was Navy personnel that had already gone ashore on the islands out or outside in the harbor, and flying fish on the channel there, and they had already cleaned out. So We never got any fire from
really?
it.
Was it
No,
smooth?
not.
What time
Later
did you-
on, we did.
But what time did you land? Was it?
It's 6:40, 6:46 or 6:47. We got on dry land
In the morning?
in the evening.
In the evening?
Yes, in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you went to Seoul, and what happened? Did you get any?
oh yes, oh absolutely. We lost quite a few of the people, our tractors. We were there where the train. They were blowing the bridges, and the train was blown off the track upside down. It was still sitting there, and this was months later. Then that train was still sitting upside down next to the track. They only had us there until they fixed the bridge, and we were going back and forth with our tractors because they went in the water, the Amtraks, and we ferried everything and everybody back and forth from one side of the Han to the other. You know, they were, and there was 2 companies up there, ours and another one.
By the way, what was your unit? Marine?
It's the 1st Amphibious Tractor Battalion, Able Company
Of?
of the 1st Marine Division.
1st Marine Division.
Yes.
So there was a severe battle in Seoul.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There was really going on, hot and heavy. But
Did you fight well there?
yes, we did. We sure did. We lost 3 or 4 of our tractors, and I saw a picture several years later, of a picture of an Amtrak on a hill in Seoul, and it was the one that was shot out from under me and my crew, and it was the same tractor, and this was from the service paper, and then they asked if anybody knew, and I called the kid that I was with. He was with us. He called and said, "Well, that was our tractor that we had driven in all the way up there." And it was weird to see something that had been there for that long, and then we get a chance to see it.
And you went up to North Korea, right?
We went over. We went back out to Incheon, and back onto the ship, and they
went to the Wonsan?
Went into Wonsan.
What was your mission?
We were just getting the people in from ship to shore. That was all what we were supposed to do.
But you are from the west to the east coast.
Yeah.
What was your mission to do?
Just to get people in, that's all. We didn't, there was nothing else at the time. Then when we get on there, we lost a lot of tractors. There was a lot of guys running around that didn't belong to anybody, and you go to this company, you go to that unit, and this company and that company, and they sent us, me and one of my friends, they sent us over to Howe Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and they were on their way up the peninsula then, heading north. It wasn't, it was nice. It wasn't snowing or anything yet. And
did you know that Chinese already there?
Yes. We had already heard that the Chinese had massed on the on the border of the Yalu there.
Yeah.
So.
So you went up to Chosen?
We were up at the Chosen Reservoir.
Tell me about those.
It was kind of disturbing. There was a lot of stuff that happened that you just don't expect to see, things that were done like they were like the way we were done. It was upsetting. You just don't believe that a person would do what they did. We saw the Corsairs were coming in and dropping napalm, and of course you know what napalm does when it hits the ground. It explodes and burns a great big path, 50 yards or so. But we saw some of those Chinese just throw their weapon down and run right into that fire. I see that. Even today, I see it.
How did you end up being surrounded by Chinese?
Oh, just overwhelmed. I mean, there was, you were fighting in this direction, and they would just go out and around and come in the back of you. So now you're fighting it in 360 degrees. So.
How close were between you and Chinese?
I could have counted the freckles on their face.
Wow.
That's how close they were at some times. Yeah.
How many days you were in the Chosen? Jiangjin?
Oh, I
week, 2 weeks?
three better weeks, and moving back slowly, coming back down. We got to a place where earlier, going up that peninsula, going up, we were there, and it was Thanksgiving Day, and the Army come in there and gave us, a Thanksgiving meal. And on the way back, we come back went up one hill, and the colonel says, "No, we're on the wrong hill. We're on the wrong hill. We got to go on that hill, right behind it." And when we got up on that next one, he said, "Oh, we've been here before." And look at all the turkey bones, we had dropped through on the ground, and we were right back where we started from. The turkey bones were all over the place. It's a little.
Were you short of ammunition or any equipment or
food? Yeah. We got ammunition. They supplied us from the air. A lot of times, but sometimes it got into the wrong hands. But yeah, we had times when it was close.
Were you thinking that you might die
Oh, I figured. I said thank you for the, for the good time and some of the bad ones, but I knew that, I figured, well, I'm not going to get out of here, and then they said, well, we're leaving, we're going to go, and we did. We just packed up what we could carry, and we were on our way. My feet were frozen. My hands were frozen. I have not much, frostbite, but not much feeling in these for a long, long, long time. My feet were bad. They pulled out my toenails over here, not over there. They took my toenails out and said that, maybe that would, so you wouldn't have to cut your toes or your feet off or anything. But they did. They took the toenails out, and I can't stand out too long, and even now, it feels like somebody's beating on my feet, because they hurt, and just a little touch or a little bump, and the pain just shoots right up your legs.
You saw many of your soldier friends dying there.
I did.
What were you thinking?
Every once in a while, the colonel would say, it's all right. We're going to get out of this. We will not leave your friends here. They were your friends and mine. They were my people, my men. And we are going to took everybody. We never left anybody there. And it's disturbing. I see it. My mind's eye sees it.
Were you wounded ever?
I got a little, and what made me mad, not just because I got hit with a bullet, that was a dead bullet, but it was from a Japanese rifle. And we were going up a hill. I have a picture of that hill. And as I had already gone up with this foot, and I put this foot up already, and something hit my leg here, and I slid down on the shale, the rocks. And when we got up the top of the hill, the corpsman says, all right, everybody's got to take off your shoes and socks. We're going to check your feet, for... and I took this one off, and I started to take this one off, and I, holy cow, I thought, oh, look at I scratched my whole inside of my leg on that rock down there. And he says, no, you got wounded. I said, no, sir. I said that I slid down that rock. And he, wait a minute. He went in his bag and got his force, and he said, here, have a bullet. Well, it was a spent round. It was a dead round. It just hit there and stayed there.
Wow.
It didn't go through.
Wow.
That was it. That was just hit and stopped.
Wow.
So we argued for a day or so with the corpsman. You didn't put me down. That was a weirdo, but because I got shot with a Japanese bullet.
So there might have left over from Japanese, military.
Oh yeah.
versus China.
Yep. There we found a lot of that. They found a lot of that over the years. stashes of weapons. I never saw them, but I knew they were there. I read an awful lot, and
now retrospectively, what do you think about your service, your your battle, and there has been so many dangerous moments, and what do you think about it?
I get sweats sometimes thinking about it. It makes me tight in my chest and my throat. I just, like I've said before, if I was asked, I would go back today and do it again.
Again?
I would do it again. Said, that's crazy. I said, no, that's not crazy. But you'd go back there again? In a heartbeat. They were, it was an experience, something that I wouldn't really like to do over and over and over, but it was something that I have in my mind now, and I understand. And when I find other veterans, and we talk, and I know what they're saying, and I understand, and he knows what I'm talking about, and he understands. Yes, I went back to Busan, and that's where we loaded, and we didn't have much equipment to take with us. Everything that was on the beach was burned. So, and all the refugees, we took off over 100,000.
Yeah.
Not me, but we got them to take, at all this room, and we're not put them on there. That wasn't, and most of them, I believe, were North Koreans, right? I think so.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of them. I met several. I had good conversations with a couple. I met a young Korean boy. He was the same age as I was, 18. And he was in the Korean Marines. And I says, I would like to change my emblem for your emblem, on your. So I can't do that. So I said, we go to his captain or his officer, and he told him what I wanted to do, and I took off my Marine Corps emblem, and I gave it to him, and he gave me one of his, which I still have. I knew he said good, and he shook my hand, that officer. And I said it was just a friendship thing,
So when did you leave Korea?
I left there in, I got last part of the last part of
1951?
51, yeah.
So you were there more than a year?
I was there more than a year, yes.
Wow. So then you fought in many different battles too, after the
Well, yeah, before, more before, we went to Seoul and, and Kimpo, Ashkan City, what's it, Yangdangpo?
Yeah.
Is that what that one is?
Yeah.
And Susan. Well, that was before. That was the first place we went was Susan.
Suwon?
Suwon, yeah. Suwon.
So you back to Busan from Wonsan, right? Hamhung.
Well, we went down to Mason after that.
Uh-huh.
When we got down, they sent us down to Mason.
Uh-huh. Oh, you didn't take the ship?
No.
No.
Oh,
so
no.
You went all the way down to
We just got on any truck that was going to Mason.
Okay.
And we went to Mason.
What did you do?
Then they took us some by ship, and then we were fortunate. We got a flight to Itami Air Base in Japan,
Oh, okay.
and we were there for I don't know, 10, 11 days,
Okay.
something like that. And then they put us aboard the ship at Yokosuka, and they gave us the last the last chance to go to town. And then they were screaming and hollering over the PA system in every place that was anybody that's on the Megs, General MC Megs, go back to your ship. There's a tornado or a hurricane coming. That's great. We had one coming in. Now we got to have one going out. You know, and we left that evening like 9 o'clock in the evening. The ship was gone, and when we get out, and we had to go, the hurricane itself was going. So we went around this way. The hurricane turned around and come back, and we went like this to go back on the other side, and the hurricane turned right around and came right after us.
Yeah, but where you were headed?
Home.
Oh.
Well, we were coming back to the States.
Okay.
Yeah, and that hurricane was following us all the way around it.
What do you think about your life? You participated in the two most memorable battles in the Korean War. Two most out of some, but Incheon landing,
Incheon landing
Chosun.
and the
What do
Chosun.
you think about that?
If it was I was scared. I treated every day like, this is going to be the end of it, and the colonel, the first sergeant, the lieutenant in charge of mortars, he kept saying, well, don't worry about it, Don't worry about it. What can you do? And the philosophy, I guess, is what can you do?
Yeah.
Just duck. And like I said, if Sonny Boy over there right now was to do something funny, I'd be the first one in line.
Have you been back to Korea?
I was talking to my wife just the other day. I had just gotten the gray beard, and I see the new sheet in there. I said, Barbara, I would really love to go. I really love to go back. And then you think about Sonny Boy there and rattling his saber. He just don't know what he's getting in for. That's all.
Do you know that Korea has developed the economy rapidly?
Absolutely. I have seen reports. I have read. I follow. I know that their prosperity is very good. I also know that over 20,000 North Koreans yearly sneak back to South Korea.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
So you proud of your service?
I am.
For what Korea is now?
For what Korea is now?
You're proud that you saved.
Oh well, I'm proud that we saved, them, and they got the ambition to do what they did. We had nothing to do with that. I don't think so. They did it all themselves. They figured out, well, there must be something here that they thought was worth coming here and fighting for us. But other than that, I ain't nothing to do with it. I applaud them. I think that's just marvelous.
Very, very nice. Thank you very much for coming for the interview and your service. You did wonderful thing for Korea, so that now the Korea is very prosperous in terms of economic power and democracy. Thank you so much again. Okay? Do you have any comments that you want to say to young generations about your service in Korean War?
It's quite a. It was like an honor to do something for somebody else and have that somebody else appreciate it and show us that, well, if you gave us that chance, we can do what you did, or we can have what you have. But they did it. We had nothing to. I don't think we had anything to do with it. Probably in a roundabout way, but hooray for them. I think that's very good. Absolutely very good.
I think it's the same thing with that, but show that to me.
Oh.
You can have one more, right?
Yes. I haven't got this one, though. I just don't have it.
Thank you very much again.